Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. There's a tension in the air, a sense that something big is about to break. You feel it at the gas pump, in the grocery store, and when you check your savings. We're told the economy cycles, but what if the next downturn is a total reshaping of the corporate world? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the institutions we thought were invincible. We'll examine the numbers, the trends, and the red flags flashing across the economy. This isn't fear-mongering, it's about being prepared. I'm Chris, your guide through this unsettling territory. Welcome to News Edge. We'll break down the vulnerabilities of 30 U.S. corporations that may not survive the coming financial crash. Let's begin. Once a suburban staple, Bed Bath & Beyond became a relic. Cluttered aisles, endless coupons, and a business model left behind by e-commerce. Crushed by debt and slow to modernize, the pandemic exposed just how fragile they'd become. Their fall is a warning. Nostalgia doesn't pay the bills, and even giants can collapse if they fail to adapt. WeWork promised a revolution in office space, fueled by hype and venture capital. But their model, long leases, short-term rentals, crumbled when the pandemic emptied offices. Their story is a lesson in the dangers of confusing vision with delusion. Party City thrived on seasonal celebrations, but that niche became a weakness. Vulnerable to weak holidays, supply chain chaos, and heavy debt, they were squeezed by online competition and a helium shortage. When times get tough, parties are the first to go. Party City is built for good times, but dangerously exposed when the party ends. Rite Aid was always the underdog, outmatched by CVS and Walgreens. Failed mergers, crushing debt, and opioid lawsuits have pushed this once-trusted drugstore to the brink. It's a tragic convergence of competition, missteps, and legal peril. Dish Network was the satellite TV alternative, until streaming changed everything. Cord-cutting gutted their subscriber base, and their wireless pivot is a costly gamble against industry giants. Their legacy business is dying, and their future is a high-stakes bet. They may not have the resources to win. Jo-Ann Fabrics was a haven for crafters, but its massive stores became a liability in the online age. Pandemic hobby booms faded, leaving them with debt and fierce competition. In tough times, spending on crafts is the first to go. Spirit Airlines built its brand on ultra-low fares and endless fees. Their razor-thin margins leave no room for error. Fuel spikes or recessions hit them hardest. A failed JetBlue merger left them without a clear path forward. In a high-cost, competitive industry, that's a dangerous place to be. AMC was nearly wiped out by the pandemic, then rescued by meme stock mania. Billions raised didn't fix the core problem. People just aren't going to the movies like they used to. Debt is crushing, and streaming is here to stay. Miracles don't last forever. Tupperware's direct selling model was iconic, but the internet made it obsolete. Younger generations moved on, and belated retail efforts couldn't revive the brand. It's a classic case of failing to keep up with the times. Peloton soared during the pandemic, then crashed as gyms reopened and demand vanished. Left with unsold inventory and a shrinking customer base, they pivoted to subscriptions. Their story warns against mistaking a temporary surge for lasting change. The fall was as dramatic as the rise. Express thrived in the mall era, but fast fashion and e-commerce left them behind. Not fast enough for trends, not unique enough to stand out, they're squeezed from all sides. The slow death of the mall is dragging them down. iRobot's Roomba created a new market, but cheap competitors flooded in. Price wars eroded their lead, and a blocked Amazon acquisition cut off their lifeline. In a tough economy, good enough beats premium. They're left fighting alone. Foot Locker's fortunes were tied to Nike, but Nike's direct-to-consumer push cut them out. Losing access to exclusive products, they're scrambling to reinvent themselves. Reinventing a brand when your main partner becomes your rival is a monumental challenge. Their core model has been undermined. Big Lots thrived on discount closeouts, but inflation hit their core customers hardest. Supply chain chaos and competition from Dollar General and Aldi squeezed them further. Even discount shoppers are cutting back. Their model is being outmaneuvered. SunPower was a solar innovator, but low-cost imports from China crushed margins. Supply chain issues and quality problems shook investor confidence. Even in a booming industry, global competition is brutal. SunPower's future is uncertain. GameStop's meme stock surge gave it a second chance, but the core problem remains. Physical game sales are dying in a digital world. Cash infusions can't fix an obsolete business model. The hype has faded, and reality is setting in. The RealReal's luxury consignment model is labor-intensive and expensive to scale. Authenticity issues and lawsuits have damaged trust. Cash burn is high, and a recession will hit second-hand luxury hard. Profitability remains elusive. Petco evolved into a health and wellness brand, but faces fierce competition from Chewy, Walmart, and Target. High store costs and debt weigh them down. As budgets tighten, pet owners cut back on premium services. Petco is caught in a squeeze. SiriusXM's satellite radio was revolutionary, but now faces endless competition from streaming and podcasts. Modern car dashboards offer infinite audio choices. Their subscriber base is aging, and the trend is against them. They're a 20th century solution in a 21st century world. Kohl's middle market strategy once worked, but now they're squeezed by discounters below and specialty brands above. Stores feel cluttered, and their brand is muddled. Even bold moves like adding Sephora may not be enough. They're struggling to define their purpose. Avis survived the pandemic by selling off cars, but now faces ride-sharing and remote work threats. Business travel may never fully return. Maintaining a massive fleet is costly. They're a legacy company facing a new travel reality. Macy's is an American icon, but the era of the grand department store is fading. Massive stores are expensive, and e-commerce is more convenient. Efforts to modernize haven't reversed the decline. Macy's is struggling to find its place in a new world. Wayfair's online furniture empire grew fast, but shipping and returns are costly. Pandemic demand cooled, and margins remain thin. Traditional retailers have caught up online. Profitability is still out of reach. Paramount's media empire is under siege from the streaming wars. Billions spent on content, but cable and broadcast revenues are shrinking. Debt is mounting, and survival as a standalone company is in doubt. The transition is painful and uncertain. Goodyear is an American industrial icon, but faces fierce global competition and shrinking margins. Legacy costs and union contracts put them at a disadvantage. The shift to electric vehicles adds new challenges. Debt and relentless pressure make the road ahead tough. Nordstrom's legendary service is expensive to maintain in today's retail world. Luxury brands are selling direct, and off-price ventures dilute their image. They're stuck between high costs and changing consumer habits. The premium department store model is under threat. Zillow revolutionized home shopping, but their iBuying venture was a costly disaster. Billions lost and credibility damaged. They've retreated to their core business. The housing market is cooling, and trust needs rebuilding. The road back is long. Gap defined American casual wear, but failed to evolve with changing tastes. Fast fashion and cultural irrelevance eroded their dominance. Leadership turmoil and failed turnarounds left the brand adrift. They're haunted by past success, unable to recapture their magic. Under Armour's explosive growth masked overexpansion and a loss of focus. Stuck as a performance brand, they missed the athleisure boom. Scandals and inventory issues hurt momentum. The challenger is now struggling to keep up. Kraft Heinz's cost-cutting left them behind as consumers shifted to fresher, healthier foods. Iconic brands now feel stale and debt is piling up. Scandals and write-downs exposed their eroding market position. They're struggling to make legacy brands relevant again. 30 companies, 30 stories of struggle and change. These aren't just logos, they're jobs, communities, and memories. Seeing them falter is unsettling, but it's a sign of how fast the world is changing. Understanding these vulnerabilities isn't about fear, it's about clarity. The real lesson: too much debt, lack of innovation, and losing touch with customers are fatal. These truths go beyond the companies we discussed. The goal isn't to scare you, but to arm you with knowledge. By paying attention and asking tough questions, you can spot cracks before they become chasms. Thank you for joining me. This is Chris, and you've been watching News Edge. Stay safe, stay informed, and see you next time.